Hello folks, I'm Jane Mitchell. I'm the author of the book Run for Your Life, which has been shortlisted for the 2023 KPMG Children's Books Ireland Awards. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about my book and a little bit about my writing process. I'm over the moon to be shortlisted for this award, and I'm coming to you today from the beautiful surroundings of the Tyrone Guthrie Centre in Monaghan, where I'm currently working on my next book. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my research for Run for Your Life, about how I structure and lay out my novels, and something about the cover of Run for Your Life. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you about the story of Run for Your Life and where I come up with it. The story is about Azari, who is a girl who comes from Southeast Asia. In her home country, Azari was a great athlete. She learned how to run when her village set up a new running club, and she went to school with her older sister, and she was living at home with her parents and her little brothers and her sister Sharnaz. Life was good and she was very happy. But things began to change as she got older. As she became a young teenager, her body started to change and her family felt it was time for her to leave school and to start work. They also felt that she should give up her running, which was a passion of Azari's and something she was really good at. Things go from bad to worse for her and her life takes a dark turn. And this is when Azari decides that she has no choice. If she wants to survive, she's going to have to leave her home, leave her family, and leave her country. And this is what she does. With her mother, they start the long journey and arrive in Ireland. And that's where the actual story starts, her arriving on the shores of Ireland and finding out what's going to happen to her. And it's difficult for her. She ends up in a direct provision centre. She has to go through a very long and complicated application process to try and get asylum. And she starts school, something that she had left years ago at home. She doesn't like school. She finds the language difficult. She finds the subjects difficult. And she also meets some girls in her school who are less than welcome. This is her new life, but the most scary thing is she doesn't know if she's going to be allowed to live it. At any moment, Azari could get a command to return back to her home and be sent back to certain danger and certain death. And this is the reality that faces an awful lot of people who are coming to Ireland looking for refugee status. They have no choice but to leave their homes, and Azari has no choice, but sometimes her choice is taken from her and she could be sent back, and she doesn't know what's going to happen. One of the more challenging parts of writing Run for Your Life was doing the research in advance, trying to find out what it's like to live as a refugee. I'm very fortunate in that I've never had to run for my life and my life has never been in danger. But that's not the case for so many people who are arriving in Ireland from other parts of the world and are looking for safety. People from parts of Africa, parts of the Middle East, Syria, and more recently from the Ukraine. To help with my research, I did a lot of online work. I found out what the application process is like for someone who arrives in Ireland, and I spoke to people I know in the UNHCR who were able to give me some really good advice. I also spoke to people who were in direct provision centres and who are going through the application process, and also to people who have successfully been granted asylum status and are living now in Ireland. I also attended a conference where some young people spoke about what it's like to live in direct provision centres and how hard it is for them travelling long distances, living in isolated centres, away from communities and not feeling part of the Irish culture. I met some young people living in a direct provision centre in Galway. We wrote stories, we drew pictures, and they told me what life was like. They were very eager, very enthusiastic, and it was great to meet them and to find out what it's like living inside a direct provision centre, where people come from all over the world, people don't always speak their language, people came from different backgrounds, different lives, and different sources of trauma. So people have come from war, people have come from persecution, and they're all living together in one centre. And that's difficult for everybody. And these young people don't know what their futures are going to be. I also gave a workshop in Dublin with Fighting Words, and that was for older teens and young adults who had lived in direct provision or were still living in direct provision. They came in and they decided to do a drama improvisation instead of writing their stories. And this is one of the images that came out. And you can see this is how they felt going through the whole application process, where they feel much smaller and weaker compared to the interviewer who is interviewing them to decide if they can stay in Ireland or not. This is so hard for young people, and this is what I try to portray in Run for Your Life, how difficult it is and challenging it is for Azari going through this kind of a process when she's already traumatized. She's been through such a difficult time with her home, her village, her family, and here she is in Ireland trying to navigate a process in another language and trying to get through to ensure she faces safety and her mum and herself are able to stay in this country. Whenever I start writing a book, I start off with a plot and a plan and something written out on paper. And this is an example of what I started with when I wrote Run for Your Life. I have the book divided into different parts. I have actions, I have characters, and I know what direction I'm going. It's a little bit like getting on a train, and I know I start off in one station and I'm going to end up in another station, but I don't always know all the stops in between or where I'm going to get off and what adventures I'll have. As the story evolves, this plan becomes more detailed. You can see here 2 pages, but this can go over 3, 4, 5 pages as I develop the characters, develop the plot, and decide what's going to happen in different stages of my book. I love the cover for Run for Your Life. The cover was designed and developed by Wajiha Abbasi, who is a Toronto-based illustrator, designer, and comp specialist. Wajiha worked for several months to develop the cover, and she drew up a storyboard, colour scheme, and different designs, which she shared with Little Island, the publisher, and they shared with me. I think the colours and images that Wajiha has chosen to portray what Azari's home country looks like in contrast with Ireland. On the left-hand side, you can see the different colours, fruits, sunshine that portray what Azari's home country in Southeast Asia looks like. And on the left-hand side, you can see different weather, rain, of course, in Ireland, and trees and the green colours. And I think this makes a lovely image of the contrast between the two countries. I think this is a great choice of cover. It's powerful, it's rich, and it's engaging. If you know somebody from your school or from your community that has recently arrived in Ireland and is looking for refugee status, I hope that Run for Your Life gives you some understanding of the difficulties they might be going through. Try and show a little bit of support and friendship to them. And if you're somebody who is looking for refugee status yourself, and you're here with your family and you're finding things challenging, I hope Run for Your Life helps other people to understand the difficulties that you might be facing. If you've read Run for Your Life, thank you very much. And if you haven't, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.